Hey guys, it's Brechtje and today I'm going to be reviewing volumes 1 and 2 of Black Science. This is a science fiction comic and it's written by Rick Remender and the artwork is by Matthias Galera and Dean White. If you saw my recent comic book haul, you might remember that I said that this was the comic that I was looking forward to the most. Unfortunately, it didn't really live up to my expectations. I really liked the whole idea of the story. It's about a group of scientists who create a device that allows them to jump from their universe to alternate universes, and somebody has tampered with that device, and while two of the kids of one of the scientists are visiting their dad at the lab, the device sends all of them to an alternate universe, and basically they're just trying to get back home while the device keeps sending them to alternate universes. So to me that sounded really cool, but I was just a little disappointed. Every time that the group comes to an alternate universe in this comic, it feels very repetitive. Pretty much every time it's just them encountering the natives from that universe and they're being chased and they try to get back to the device, and that seems to be happening every time when they come to an alternate universe. So that aspect of the story wasn't really as exciting as I thought it was gonna be. The story starts out when they have already arrived in an alternate universe and you kind of get some flashbacks to really know more about what's going on and how they created this device and a little bit more backstory on the characters, and I really appreciated that because if that hadn't been the case, I think the story would have been really boring, to be honest. I did like the alternate universes and what we got to know about these alternate universes, but I would just have liked the story to focus more on exploring these alternate universes than just being chased all the time. What I did like about this comic was that at some point some of the characters encounter alternate versions of themselves from alternate universes, and I've always really enjoyed that in stories, so I was really glad to see that in this comic. You don't really see too much of that in the first volume, but there's more of that in the second volume. The biggest problem that I had with this comic was the narrative, because every now and then parts of the story would be narrated by one of the characters and the narrators would kind of switch, like every time it would be told by someone else, and I was really confused as to who exactly was speaking, and often only when I got to the end of that narrative I could figure out who exactly had been speaking all this time, and once I actually had to go back to read it again to really comprehend what was going on. I thought the artwork for this comic was pretty cool, especially I liked all the scenery that was drawn and all the costumes of the characters. At first I thought the faces of all the characters were drawn really awkwardly, but I kind of got used to that, and now I do actually like the way this comic was drawn. I also really like the colors that have been used for the artwork. Often it was a combination of dark colors combined with really bright colors. I really like that. I did enjoy the story, but I wasn't a huge fan of the characters. There weren't a lot of characters that I thought were very likable, and I personally am really someone that needs to like a character to really care about the story, so even though I enjoyed it and I thought the idea was pretty cool, I ended up giving this one 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. A lot of my feelings for the first volume are the same as for the second volume, because again I thought the narrative was really confusing. I had no idea who was talking most of the time. Again, there was a lot of the characters being chased by the natives from the alternate universes, but I did like that in this second volume we get to see more of the alternate versions of our characters. I really liked seeing the interaction between those alternate characters and our characters. In this second volume I already cared a little bit more about the characters because I was a little bit more familiar with them, but all in all I would say this second volume wasn't that much better than the first volume, so I'm still gonna give it 3 out of 5 stars again. I'm not sure yet if I'm gonna be continuing with this comic series. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't blown away or anything, but if you've read this comic book series, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'll see you next time. Bye!